There are a lot of young people, for sure, a lot of people still represented in a presidential election who think America's best days are behind us, that the dream is not equal, it's not fair. This is a show that is about seeing people reach their dreams, make that contribution through their professional life as a worthy thing. What do you think? Good, bad, ugly, the American dream. Address it whatever angle you want to. I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I'd like to address it from Gen Z because I think that the one thing I don't want to see is people go and criticize Gen Z for feeling that way.
I agree.
They've been through a lot. And I think that you have to appreciate that, my son, high school senior year, COVID hits. Missed his prom, missed his graduation. Freshman year of college, he was stuck in a dorm room wearing masks, didn't get that first year. All of that. Then they go and they look at the fact rent is high. They don't ever think they're going to own a home. They look at, a lot of kids still don't have jobs if they just graduated college. They're desperately looking for jobs. They can't find it. And they don't think they're going to live as good of a life as their parents did. That's a lack of hope. And what we need to do is first see it for what it is. They don't watch the news because they think both sides are crazy. I don't think they're wrong. And all they know is what they see on YouTube and social media. And in social media, they can scroll and everybody's life is better than theirs. So if you take that and look at it, that's not their fault. That's the world in which they live in. Yeah. What we have to do is give them hope, is to let them know one day you are going to own a home. One day you are going to have a job that you love, but these are steps that you get there. And yes, you are going to have more money in your pocket, a few years from now, but today you got to work and make that dollar stretch. You just have to kind of walk them through it instead of saying you shouldn't feel that way. And the one thing that I have done with my kids is I have said, before you go to bed, when you say your prayers, don't ask God what you want. Go through every single blessing of your day. Because when you count the blessings from, I'm so glad that, that traffic jam didn't cause me to be late at work, or I'm so glad that, I got this done, or I'm so glad that this worked out, or I'm so glad that, my grandmother's going to be okay. Count all those blessings from the smallest to the biggest, because when you do that, all of a sudden your blessings are a lot more than your prayers. And that's where you can go forward on how do you capture the American dream, is you have to appreciate your blessings first before you can take on the challenges that come next.
Here's a follow-up on this. First, your opinion. It feels like we are raising kids that have less and less grit. And we have a lot more drama, and we're seeing this in the data. With Gen Z, who I'm raising 3, are coming out of school and going to the workforce and having a hard time with just a basic work day. I'm not in any way insulting that generation because they're bright and they're the future, and I love them. I'm raising 3. However, in light of mom going, here's a glass of water, dry it up, get to your room, have a couple sips. Could we use more of that in today's parenting?
I mean, don't insult that generation, but question the parents.
It's our fault.
Because, I look at how our parents raised us. We accepted it because they left wealthy lifestyles in India and came to this country with $8 in their pocket because they wanted a better life for their family. And so from the kids' standpoint, we saw how much they sacrificed for us. So I have grown up always knowing I have to prove to them they made the right decision. And so we wanted to please our parents. I saw them work 7 days a week. I saw that they were constantly trying to do for us. I saw they never went out on a date. They never left without us because it was family was everything. But then I looked at my kids. When my kids were growing up, I started doing the books for the family business when I was 13. It wasn't until I got to college that I realized that wasn't normal. And so I remember at 13, I had to figure out what we were going to pay and how we were going to pay it. When times were tough. You stretched that dollar, you got creative, but you figured it out. And when times were good, you never celebrated because you knew the tough times were going to happen again. So when my kids were coming along, we required that they had to have a job at 14. Either you find a job or we're going to find a job for you. So our daughter, she started working. I remember she got her first paycheck. She was like, I did all that work for this. They learned the value of a dollar. They learned what it was like to be responsible for someone else. My son comes along. We had just moved to New York when I became UN ambassador. Same rule applied for him. He needed to find a job. He didn't find one. I said, okay, you had to find yourself a job. He was like, Mom, we just moved to New York. What'd you want me to do? And I said, okay, then I'll find a job. And he worked in a homeless shelter because they needed to know you don't get a pass. You have to do this. And look, I think all parents, we want our kids to have a better life. And we think showing them love is by giving them everything they want. But actually showing them love is they need to know some sort of struggle. They need to know what it's like to work for someone else, to earn money, to see how little it is, so that they now want to go and make it more. And it also teaches them you got to work hard if you want to have the life your parents have. And so I think we really do. We've over-coddled and overdone. Because at the end of the day, I still have to stop myself from wanting to do for my kids. But if they don't go through what we went through, then you either go through the challenge now or you go through it later, but you're going to go through it. So it's better that they go through it early while they've got their parents to kind of shepherd them through.
Yeah, and this has an impact, not getting into policy here, but this does have an impact on a nation and its work ethic and its economic might, correct? I mean, this is not
talk to
something...
any CEO and they will tell you it used to be making money dealing with customers. Now it's how do we deal with the employee base? Because their feelings get hurt. They suddenly, they don't want to work at the office. They want more remote time. I talked with someone the other day and he said he was interviewing someone and the first question was, how much time do I get off? How much are you putting in my retirement? How many days do I get to work from home? Like all the things that had nothing to do with the actual job. And I think COVID just exacerbated all of that.